They threw 20,000 eggs into the landfill, and 3 months later, the unimaginable happened. Under the gentle morning sun, softly spreading over the northern peaks of Georgia, where a small town lies nestled along the lush green fields of the valley. The communities here are bound together like one big family, always ready to face any challenges that nature brings. However, one spring afternoon at the local landfill in the Shipley area, a strange event occurred, something no one could have foreseen. That landfill, at first glance, was nothing special, simply a vast area enclosed by a chain-link fence. Piled high with old items from broken furniture, discarded tires, and countless other household wastes. Under strict sanitation regulations, there was a dedicated manager named Darius. His job was to oversee the machines that compacted waste into tight blocks, ensuring everything was sorted correctly and hazardous materials were separated from regular trash. But no matter how careful they were, none of them could have guessed that amid those piles of scrap and foul-smelling waste, a miracle was about to happen. The story began with an unexpected incident at a poultry farm. A batch of eggs, numbering in the tens of thousands, was being spoiled due to a power outage in the storage facility, unable to be sold, and no one dared to use them for fear of food safety issues. These eggs had only one path left: to be discarded. And so about 20,000 eggs were loaded onto a truck bound for the landfill. There, they were dumped unceremoniously, mingling with the massive heaps of trash, awaiting decomposition over time. At first, the eggs almost disappeared among torn plastic bags, damp cardboard boxes, and countless discarded fragments. But nature always has its own way. When summer arrived, the blazing sun grew harsher, warmth seeping through each layer of waste. Combined with persistent rain showers, creating a unique environment, it became a giant, unexpected incubator. Some eggs remained intact, protected from sudden temperature fluctuations, and then the miracle occurred. The landfill manager, during a routine patrol, suddenly noticed something very strange. At first, it was just a faint, weak sound, like distant bird chirping. He initially thought it might be the wind or a few birds fighting over leftover scraps. But day by day, the sound grew clearer, echoing among the towering piles of trash. Drawn by curiosity, he left his tractor, followed the chirping, and weaved through the scattered heaps of waste. And then the sight before him left him stunned. Amid the messy trash, tiny, golden yellow chicks were peeking out from cracked eggshells. As he approached, they immediately fell silent. The dozens of small, bright eyes looked at him with confusion and curiosity. Daniel could hardly believe his eyes. How could these tiny creatures survive in such a harsh place? Looking around, he realized it wasn't just a few dozen, but possibly hundreds, even thousands of chicks had hatched under these bizarre conditions. Under the warmth of the sun and the humidity maintained by the rains, the seemingly discarded eggs had been naturally incubated. Flimsy cardboard boxes had inadvertently protected them from being crushed. A landfill, seemingly a place of waste and abandonment, had unexpectedly become a cradle of life. It was a moment when nature proved that even amid what humans discard, life always finds a way to continue. Unsure what to do next, Darius reported the incident to the county's Environmental Services Department. News spread quickly through local channels, and soon, people from nearby villages heard and couldn't stop talking about it. The tiny chicks suddenly appearing in the scrap piles was a scene so strange it was hard to believe. But then rumors turned into truth. Curiosity drew people to the landfill, gathering around the fence, hoping to witness firsthand the tiny lives born in an unexpected place. However, the landfill was no place to keep these small creatures for long. When strong enough to move, they began leaving the nest, wandering everywhere in search of food. Tiny fluffs of down hurried along the asphalt roads leading out of the landfill, their small beaks constantly pecking at any crumbs or insects they found. Fortunately, traffic on this road wasn't too heavy, and kind drivers slowed down, even swerving to avoid hitting them. The journey of the chicks continued into the suburbs, where they created an unprecedented spectacle. Residents woke up and were amazed to see tiny creatures hopping around on the grass and rice flowers. Children squealed with delight upon discovering groups of newly hatched chicks hiding under porches or near sheds in the garden. At first glance, this scene was adorable, but soon people realized it was not just a curiosity but a crisis. These tiny beings needed shelter, food, and proper care. Otherwise, they would struggle to survive the cold nights, not to mention the threat from predators. In response, a spontaneous community movement emerged, with families who had space or experience raising poultry stepping in to help, offering temporary shelter. Ms. Gosale, a local teacher, volunteered to turn her garage into a temporary hatchery. Neighbors brought in boxes of chicks they had rescued from dangerous spots. Not stopping there, she involved her students in caring for them, turning it into a hands-on lesson in hygiene, responsibility, and compassion. "Nature always finds a way," she said, as the children laughed happily. Carefully giving the little chicks water with droppers and grinding food for them. From what seemed like a bizarre and chaotic situation, a miracle blossomed. Not just for the chicks but also for human kindness. In the following days, the whole town buzzed with the unprecedented miracle story, as thousands more chicks continued to hatch and spread everywhere, from under parked cars and inside old tires to the junkyard. Their lives spent searching for leftover scraps of food. The number of chicks grew so rapidly that local authorities were scrambling for solutions. Not all could be adopted, and concerns about hygiene and disease outbreaks grew. After much deliberation, the authorities decided to collaborate with the Ministry of Health to find the safest and most humane way to handle this jigsaw. But perhaps the biggest surprise was how the entire community came together to face the event. News spread quickly, from local bulletins to national media outlets. Reporters flocked in, interviewing residents right on their porches, and capturing scenes of chicks frolicking on the streets. At the heart of this event was Darius, the junkyard manager, used to practical work, who suddenly became the most noticed figure, recalling the moment he first discovered thousands of eggs hatching into chicks. He couldn't help but be stunned. No one could believe a miracle happened in such an unlikely place for life. And then that miracle didn't stop with just the chicks. The whole town suddenly became lively in an unexpected way. Hardware stores raced to stock more wire mesh and plywood to help people build chicken coops. The feed store generously donated eggs of feed to households taking in chicks. Even grocery stores contributed by donating part of their profits to establish a fund for a new chick sanctuary. Ironically but meaningfully, eggs once discarded as unfit for human consumption now became the thread connecting the community, bringing new life and joy. As the chicks grew, their survival instincts sharpened. They learned to scratch the ground for food, fending for themselves without relying on others. But what was even more special was that some didn't choose lush green fields or peaceful gardens to live in, but instead headed to the junkyard, a place seemingly devoid of life. They gathered, forming a strange community locals called the Junkyard Colony. A rare sight, hundreds of chicks, some a bit older, roamed among piles of waste and mixed debris. They foraged instinctively, pecking at leftover food scraps amid the rubbish. Unintentionally, this wild flock played a crucial role. They helped reduce organic waste, preventing insects and rodents from multiplying. As time passed through the changing seasons, from spring to summer, the lucky surviving chicks were taken by locals to their yards and gardens for care. As they grew up, they began to make the characteristic calls of young hens, signaling a joyous event. They had reached egg-laying age. For the families raising them, this was no small joy. The first fresh eggs appeared, and ironically enough, they were laid atop the same rotting scraps among which the flock had once lived. The local residents gradually fell in love with this flock of chicks. Each morning, the clucking sounds rang out, becoming a familiar part of life, bringing a sense of peace to the countryside. Photos of excited children picking up the first eggs were also shared everywhere. as a testament to the miraculous life cycle of these tiny creatures. It began in a place everyone thought held only decay and neglect. However, not all the chickens had a beautiful ending. Nature still has its harsh laws. Some unfortunately became prey for foxes and hawks. Predators always lurking in the fields for the wild chickens. Others were weak, unable to withstand disease before receiving vaccinations or proper care. Although the community tried hard to protect them, over time, the number of wild chickens began to dwindle. The healthier ones integrated into human care, becoming familiar members of the backyard. Meanwhile, others sought out hidden corners around the landfill, or ventured back into the deep forest, the place they had been abandoned in as chicks. Faced with this situation, Mr. Darius, the landfill manager, proactively implemented many measures to protect the flock and maintain hygiene. He installed large signs reminding staff and visitors not to disturb the flock, and also requested drivers to be careful when passing through areas where they were present. Not stopping there, he also fenced off a part of the landfill to create a roosting area, a safer place for the chicks to gather. At the same time, the local authorities also got involved, planning to relocate the flock to a designated sanctuary. But this was not an easy task. Health checks, transportation, logistics, and funding were all major obstacles to overcome. Many months passed, as a warm spring gradually gave way to brilliant summer days. The people gradually settled back into their daily routines. Summer turned to early autumn, trees donned brilliant golden hues. And it was precisely at that time that extraordinary things began. The once fragile chicks had grown, slowly stepping into maturity. But the biggest surprise came from strange discoveries, new clutches of eggs appearing in places no one expected. Under old roof tiles, in a hollow of a tree stump, or even among forgotten piles of scrap. Newly laid eggs lay there silently waiting for life to hatch. No one understood why these eggs appeared here. But one thing was certain, the cycle of life was completing itself in the most miraculous way. What was even more astonishing was the origin of these eggs. They started as discarded, spoiled eggs in the landfill. As heat in nature. A miracle occurred, thousands of new lives cried out from what humans once considered waste. Looking back on the entire event, the people couldn't help but laugh at how fate arranged things. A seemingly small incident became the focus of the entire community. They not only witnessed a rare phenomenon, but also deeply felt the spirit of unity as neighbors joined hands to care for the chicks. The village children learned the true meaning of love and protecting life, even in a landfill, a place once seen as a forgotten, hidden corner, now became a symbol of hope, a living testament to the power of nature and the persistence of life. Whenever tourists visited and curiously asked about the chicken invasion, the residents would smile and recount this most miraculous story. Under the clear blue sky of North Jogja, amidst majestic mountains and peaceful valleys, the seemingly impossible had happened. From a pile of discarded rotten eggs, a new life has formed, becoming a testament to resilience, community spirit, and the unexpected wonders of nature. Dear viewers, this story has likely shown us a miracle. Even amidst things seemingly forgotten, life is still blazed forth in ways no one could foresee. From an indifferent landfill, the discarded eggs created an emotional journey. Not only for the tiny chicks but also for the entire community here. They joined hands to welcome new life, turning what seemed like chaos into a lesson in compassion. About how humans can harmonize with nature, rather than merely being its rulers. What do you think about this strange story? How many more mysteries of nature await our discovery? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe to Mystery and turn on notifications so you don't. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next videos. Subscribe to Mystery_Core to support the channel and watch the latest videos. Subscribe to mystery_4 to support the channel and watch the latest videos.